Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that seems to have things kind of going their way as of late. But before we get started with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So the Carolina Hurricanes and their fans have kind of had it good over the past 6 seasons, 6 playoff appearances, 3 division titles, 8 series victories. And while they've not been able to go to the Stanley Cup final, I would still view this as kind of the golden era of Carolina Hurricanes hockey. Mind you, of course, 2006 was great, and then they made it to the Eastern Conference Final in 2010, but they were not a regular team to make it into the playoffs year in and year out, whereas this team is. That kind of being said, though, I thought that entering this season, they would regress from what they have been in recent years. And while it still looks like their point total could drop by the end of this season, things still look actually really good for this team, which is kind of why I'm making this video today. So kicking it off with some of the early points as some things that are going in their favor. Well, this is a team that looks set to probably make the playoffs for a 7th straight year, also having their 4th straight year of making it to 100 points or more. I think that is a good mark for a team, but I think they've really gone above and beyond that in terms of being 110 points or more in a lot of years. And again, just something that was very unimaginable for a long time for this organization. So to see them being a consistent playoff team, but also being a really good team that is the top class of their division in a lot of ways, won it 3 years in a row, I think is really favorable for them. And then on top of that as well too, the Devils seem to be kind of stuck in a little bit of a rut. I think they had a period of like 11 games where they had 2 wins. It was something like that, 3-12, somewhere in that regard. The Devils haven't been on fire in a lot of ways for a little bit here. Meanwhile, the Hurricanes are second in the division, and that could be critical for home ice advantage here. They have the second best points percentage in the league. Time of recording this, they play the Los Angeles Kings tonight. I'm going to be putting this out tomorrow. But the Hurricanes are 25-1 at home. If they beat LA, maybe they're able to take the top spot from the Kings. And I think in a series where the Devils have a lot of guys that haven't got to play a lot of playoff games together, maybe, just maybe that's kind of one of those extra advantages and an X factor, if you will, where they can move on to the second round. But I think also, too, while some people could say, well, theoretically, they could fall lower in the standings, they could go to third in the division or even fall the wild card spot. I think that one of the things we can talk about here is the fact that they're not too far away from the Washington Capitals for that division lead in the Metro. Washington does have a game in hand, but for the Hurricanes, they've already done it before, and they still have a good amount of time with not a crazy gap between them. So I don't think that it is too crazy to imagine them possibly going out there and winning the Metro for a 4th occasion. And this is again kind of focused on the positive notes, but I think as well too, a really good positive thing here is the fact that the Hurricanes are a team that's got a lot of playoff experience together and probably don't care as long as they get the playoffs, they're going to have their chance and they will just play whoever is in front of them and try to win in that regard. But I will say another thing that is going for them in this recent run is the acquisition of Mikko Rantanen from the Colorado Avalanche. Mikko is the new shiny thing that the social media team is kind of flaunting right now, and the fans are just eating it up. Obviously, the reasons are just apparent. This is a big name player and is a guy that is a jersey seller. We've already talked about that in his video, but this is a player that could go out there and maybe get them to win that Stanley Cup. And this is a guy that could get those crucial goals, which is why they went out there and got him. And I think one of the fun things about this is they're in a healthy playoff spot. It's not like a couple years ago, the Blue Jackets, when they really geared up for that run in the, 2019 playoffs, somewhere around there, they kind of made some moves. I think it was later in the year, and it wasn't as secure about if they're going to possibly go out there and make the postseason. The Hurricanes feel pretty good in this regard, so they've got like 30-ish games to just sit back, enjoy, and then try to work things out as well as they can, figure out exactly how it's going to work, again on the power play and just how they want to position their lines, kind of shuffle things around and see who likes to play with who and how, of course, this could benefit the team when it comes to crunch time, when it all matters. So for getting Mikko, this is going to be very exciting to follow this side, but also into the end of the season where we could see if Mikko feels like possibly going out there and winning the Conn Smythe. But there is another thing that is kind of going for this team as of late, and that is the news of the rising salary cap over the next 3 years. It is set to rise pretty significantly here, and this is big. Why exactly is that big? Well, you've got a lot more money to work with. You got a guy that you just acquired that is a star, and you might have an easier time getting him to sign an extension. Kind of interesting as well, too, because Mikko said that he wanted to sign for less than what his value was on the market for the Colorado Avalanche, and they just kind of wouldn't work out a deal. So you wonder if Mikko really likes this team with the rising cap if he can keep things relatively fair, maybe ask for more than what we would expect in the current cap era, or at least with the current cap that we have right now, but also understanding, hey, in a couple of years, it might be a little bit easier to work around here. I don't exactly know, but if things really work out in the playoffs right now, you'd want to pay the man probably, because this Carolina Hurricanes team hasn't got the job done yet. Even though they've been really good, you know that getting or retaining this star could actually be really big for them. And I think another thing that's really exciting here is with that rising cap, if they're able to make Mikko work, they have a lot of those big name players in a contract for not only this season, but I think 3 seasons after for a lot of these guys. So you would get 3 more opportunities to make a run. And I think in a lot of ways for Carolina, well, they have kind of taken a step back. I think in terms of points, will probably finish with what they, or less than what they had this past year. They could actually kind of re-emerge in the Eastern Conference. I didn't think they'd fall off a cliff by any means, but I think there's probably about 4 to 5 teams that could go out there and win the conference. Probably more conservatively, like 3 to 4, but Carolina certainly could be in that category, especially if they're able to keep Mikko and things are going well, and just knowing the chemistry they could build in the coming years. As some other teams probably will fall off, and I think you could see it maybe be almost just like 3 teams in these kind of competing in that regard. So yeah, some of these things they are controlling, like the Devils kind of slumping a little bit, but other things they're like getting Mikko and then possibly signing an extension, which could also be kind of tied back into they don't control the salary cap rising as much as it is. But yeah, for Hurricanes fans, I feel like that over the past week and a half, life has been really good and they should be excited, probably the most excited they've been for the playoffs in multiple years. I don't know as far as like their first conference final appearance, but this is going to be really, really good, hopefully. So anyway, what are your thoughts on the Carolina Hurricanes? And I apologize if I had to keep cutting the video. I feel like maybe I've just got like a sore throat or something going on here. So I'm going to just probably take some cough drops and then end the night. But the Hurricanes are a team that I think we should all be talking about, and I don't even know if I've covered them since our season preview, as it's kind of been putting things off, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to talk about for them. At one point, they went 11-10-1 over a 22-game period, and I was going to talk about how they had been average, but things have gotten better since then. As you can tell, my voice again kind of dealing with something here, and they are just a team that I've liked to watch for probably the past 6 years. And we'll see if it is going to be maybe 7 years again. Well, it is going to be 7 years, maybe 10 years. We'll see. And also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you go hockey, all right. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.